Last time I'm on crappy Macbook into a smacking Linux system.
There we go. Huh. There is no drive showing up in the boot. Okay. Well, we'll have to figure out what's going on. I guess it's time for part 3.
And now for the continuation.
Hey Internet. I know I left you on a cliffhanger in the last MacBook video. This has been one of the more frustrating and time-consuming projects I've been working on lately. Just to recap, in the last video, we found out that the MacBook had a dead hard drive after hooking it up to the new power supply. And so I opened it up and installed an SSD in it, hoping that I could get some boot options and boot to the SSD. Well, that didn't exactly work. And so in the process of trying to get Linux on this MacBook, I tried installing different versions from USB keys. I tried installing Xubuntu, Lubuntu, Puppy Linux, and Mint. And after all of that, I finally got Mint to work, but I couldn't get Mint to boot from any thumb drive I used. And I even tried separate file systems and 32-bit and 64-bit ISOs. And none of them would work. So what I ended up doing was removing the SSD, putting it in another computer, and installing Linux Mint 64-bit directly to the SSD. Alright, so the moment of truth. Now, this MacBook only supports SATA 1.5, and the SSD is capable of SATA 6. So it won't boot super fast, but it's still pretty speedy once the operating system is running. So here we go. Alright, now this is where we were before in the last video. Now it's going to take a little bit, and I'm going to fast forward with the power of video editing and show you what happens. Alright, now we're on the Linux Mint login screen. It took 2 minutes for it to boot from power on to the login screen. So not super fast, but once the operating system is running and the desktop is up, it's pretty snappy for a Core 2 Duo with only 2 gigs of RAM. So we're going to log in and we're going to do some stuff and see how it performs. Any day now. Ah, I love that sound. Welcome to Linux Mint. And goodbye. Okay, so for this video, I actually used this MacBook for a whole day as my daily driver PC. Now, there were some things I did not do, like gaming. We'll talk about that later. What I did do was some web browsing, some video watching, and some image viewing. I didn't really do too much. I did make a Guilded server, so you can use Discord if you want, or Guilded on here to keep up with your gaming buddies. So the web browser I installed was Chromium. So we'll just open it up here. And it's pretty snappy. Comes up pretty quick. Now I definitely recommend installing an ad blocker extension if you try to do this, because the modern internet and its advertisements really clog up older systems. So we're just going to play a video from the previous episode for a little bit. Now the speakers on this MacBook are really crap. Now this is standard definition, but a trick you can do if you want to watch high def on an older machine. So we'll go to YouTube. Now once you go to YouTube, you can grab the URL of the video you want to watch, copy it, and you can open VLC media players, which I have installed on the MacBook. You go to Media, open Network Stream, and then you can paste the video right in there and press play. And this will play in high definition. So this is a way you can watch HD video on your crappy MacBook without the web browser lagging out. It's also pretty snappy when you're trying to look at some pictures. You can create a slideshow pretty easily with this. So here's some pictures that I took with my phone. There's definitely a delay in loading between hitting the arrow key and bringing up the next picture, but I mean, it's from 2006 and these are high def photos. So you can also use chat applications like Gilded or Discord if you want to use Discord. Takes a little bit, just a little bit of time to load, not too much. You can do your voice chatting on here. You can chat in the chat box. And here we are. Look at that. So for those interested, the MacBook is using around 900 megabytes of the 2 gigabytes of available system memory. The Core 2 Duo sits at about 5% at idle, and under a full load, which would be watching a high definition YouTube video, would be about 90% usage. So it is pushing itself when you try to load it with tasks. I mean, it's not going to be a speed demon by any means, but it will still get the job done. And if you're a retro computer user like me, you will not mind the wait. So now you're saying, Traxxas, why would I want a MacBook from 2006? Well, couple reasons. But the best reason is you can use it to piss off all the Apple fanboys you encounter by showing them your nice MacBook chassis running Linux Mint 20. I mean, I don't need another reason. I think it's cool. Retro computing experiences are seldom useful, but they are fun. And as frustrating as this project has been, I've actually had some fun using the MacBook. Now for some pros and cons. Pros. As a retro machine, it's got really great Wi-Fi. It's got a 5 gigahertz radio in it, and it has Bluetooth. I think that's pretty cool. You can hook up an external speaker or your phone or earbuds to it. Probably even a controller if you really wanted to. I don't know why you would want to game on this machine. More on that later. But yeah, you can do light web browsing. You can do music. You can watch videos as long as they're not too high def, unless you use the VLC method I showed you earlier. You can even watch DVDs on this. Now for some cons. It is kind of slow to boot. Some of the programs take a while to load, and because of the limitations of the machine, you're not going to be seeing lightning fast speeds. Also, some of the driver support for the machine was spotty. everything seemed to function properly except for the webcam. I could not get the webcam to work. I tried a couple different methods online, and I'm by no means a code monkey, so I'm not going to write a driver from scratch. In conclusion, I mean, it's a pretty good retro machine. If you don't have a lot of money and you get one of these as, a hand-me-down, throw Linux Mint on it. Heck, try to throw one of the other many different versions of Linux on this machine, and it'll function well enough to be a daily driver. Well, that's it for this video. I hope it was interesting. I certainly had an interesting time making it and using this MacBook. I hinted earlier in the video that we might be able to do some gaming on this. So, in part 4, we're gonna attempt to emulate some games. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Oh my gosh, it's working! It's so beautiful! Look at that logo! It's alive! Alive! Look at that beautiful cursor. So awesome. Oh yeah.